Hello, welcome to this edition of What the Fuck is Going On. I'm your host, Zealand, and today we'll be discussing a Swiss League team named Lugano and their striker, a guy named Kevin Behrens. And if that's a name that is ring-a-ding-dinging some bells for you, that's because Kevin Behrens quite recently was a member of the German national team. In 2023, actually, after emerging as a significant player on Union Berlin, right when Union Berlin was cresting at the top of that, oh shit, they're kind of good wave that they were riding in the German leagues for a while. Their striker was a guy named Kevin Behrens, who has battled his way, as you can see, through the course of his career, through the regional leagues, through the second Bundesligas, to the Bundesliga with Union Berlin. He then got a move to Wolfsburg, where he spent 2 seasons not scoring. And he spent this year so far having a pretty good season in the Swiss Super League, which is, if you're somebody that had a cap for Germany in 2023, you should be able to perform pretty well at that level. Now, Behrens, one of those guys that didn't get his success, particularly his top-level success, until later in his career, talking 27, even 28 years old when he was breaking into the Bundesliga for the very first time. So he was a feel-good story. This feels like a long time ago now, considering literally every other thing I'm going to tell you over the course of this video. But he was a feel-good story. It was, the same type of story that you get from a Jamie Vardy, even though he obviously didn't reach that level. The idea was that he had worked his way up through the league systems of Germany, proven his quality, and finally reached a point where he was able to make a serious impact and be an impressive player. And I mean, hell, making an appearance for the German national team, Brazil, Spain, France, England, Germany, Italy and Argentina kind of sprinkled in there too. It's just teams that, if you can get on the field for that national team one time, it is an incredible achievement. The type of achievement that just hallmarks an entire career. But things have spiraled out of control for Kevin Behrens ever since that incident, and this was a friendly between Lugano and Victoria Pilsen. So, little Switzerland v. Czechia friendly. They're playing in Spain. It's just the type of training camp match you play in January when you're not on Barcelona or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, when you go on like a tour of Japan for a month. You go hang out in Spain, a little warm weather training camp, get the whole team together, build some camaraderie, and play some matches. Lugano and Victoria Pilsen 1-1 in the 72nd minute, and this happens. They're running around. This is Kevin Behrens, by the way. And you'll notice at the point that I've paused it, Kevin Behrens is not running towards the ball. Of course, he is supposed to be running towards the ball to apply some pressure, right? That's what he's doing. And honestly, for a friendly, these guys are busting their ass to get forward. But for some reason, Kevin Behrens has made the executive decision to not continue to chase the ball. He has instead decided that he is going to chase Georgios Koutsias, who is a young Greek player who's on Lugano. And not only is he going to chase him, he is going to run over to him and shove him to the ground. He's just run over and bowled over his teammate. This is a friendly. Not so friendly, is it? You're welcome. Yeah, I do have that on command, by the way, if you don't watch the streams and didn't know that. I also have this. Its use case is still being determined, but it is a fun button to press. Anyways, this was more of a... Right, because in a friendly, why is Kevin Behrens doing this? One, it's a friendly, you're trying to build fitness. You're playing for nothing. A great example is this match was 3 halves. It was a friendly organized purely to just work on things and develop fitness. They played 3 45-minute halves in this match. It ended 4-2. Victoria Pilsen won. I don't know why any of this is relevant, but it just illustrates they're not playing in front of a crowd. They're not playing for anything other than going out there and trying to execute. If there was ever a time that you could chill while playing a sport, this would be it. You're hanging out, professional athlete, European level athlete. Both of these teams are always in Europe. Lugano out of Switzerland, Victoria Pilsen out of the Czech Republic, right? These are athletes doing well, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, living good, hanging out in Spain. It's a great time for everybody except for Kevin Behrens. Now, there are maybe justified reasons, if somebody's lobbing slurs at you from the parking lot like this, right? Somebody is physically or like verbally severely harmed somebody that you care about. Maybe this is the sort of reaction that is justified, but based off all the investigating I can do, this is not what is happening here. Right, everybody's best guess, right? There's been some reporting about what was said, which is essentially, you little freak, be quiet. So he shoves him over and says, you little freak, be quiet. That's what he says to him. This was apparently just about pressing. It was about something to do within the match itself. And if this is about something to do within this match itself, Kevin Behrens should not be back with this team. You should not be able to make it to this point in your life. He shouldn't be able to have made it to this point in his professional career where this sort of reaction is even in the Rolodex of possibilities. Where if you're playing a video game and you click action, this pops up as an option. It just can't be a reaction to anything. I don't care if Georgios Koutsias was being a dick or whatever he was doing. You can't run over and steamroll him in a friendly. I mean, every player, every professional player ever has always talked about this. And trust me, there's a lot more to this Kevin Behrens story that we're going to get into as to maybe why he's doing this or just the type of person that he is. But every professional athlete talks about the way to handle this situation. If you actually have a disagreement with Koutsias, a lot of professional athletes, professional footballers are dicks. You handle it in private. You go in the locker room or the fucking hill next to the field and you have it out. Maybe you throw a shoe at David Beckham, whatever happens, right? You just vent. You yell at each other. You shove each other once or twice and storm out of the room. But you can't do this. I mean, obviously, the only excuse you could have is this isn't public. Maybe it feels like it's training because you're playing in front of nobody. But guess what? It's being filmed and streamed to somebody. It's a friendly between two decent teams that have fans that care. But you can't do this. You just can't. It can't be a possible physical reaction for you to exist at this level. And so what is the outcome? Get rid of him. This should be, his contract is terminated with cause. Contractually, there should be something in the contract. You violate professional standards and you're able to terminate the contract with cause. But come to realize, Lugano's probably not going to do that because they're already overlooking some stuff in order to bring in Kevin Behrens in the first place. Because he went from feel-good story to, the guy's kind of gross pretty quick. All right, now he went from Union Berlin to Wolfsburg, and then this story dropped. This absolute peach of a story from Kevin Behrens, who, look, it doesn't help his case that every picture I've ever seen of this guy makes him look like the bad guy in a James Bond movie, right? Like, this guy looks like a super hard-o dick. And there's a certain element to this, right? Like, I don't like judging people or going after them for their looks, but he clearly presents himself as such. In the pictures that I have seen of Kevin Behrens, this guy wants to appear tough, right? That is part of his image. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but when you couple it with what he just did, which, Kevin Behrens is 34 years old. There's another fact I want to pull up here. Georgios Koutsias is not 34. Georgios Koutsias is 21. Kevin Behrens is 13 years older than the guy he's shoving in this video, right? It's an incredibly immature thing to do from Behrens. But at Wolfsburg, he was signing stuff. And somebody, this wasn't you're being forced to do something or whatever. There was a Wolfsburg shirt that was given to him that featured the rainbow logo in celebration of the LGBTQ community, basically. One of those rainbow kind of badge jerseys or whatever. And it was just while he was signing things. And apparently he went, I won't sign that gay crap. Dude, even if you are afraid of gay people because you think that you're going to catch the gay or whatever, there are a lot of footballers that are afraid of gay people. But they find ways to be more respectful about it than this. Some of them don't. But it's just having that filter in your brain to be like, well, maybe I'm just going to pretend I didn't see it. If you're really if your balls are so in a twist, you can't sign something that happens to have something rainbow on it. It's not like he's signing a statement that's like, and I'm also gay, right? It's just signing a jersey, dude. I don't know. they immediately came out and like fined him and said it's absolutely not acceptable. Like Wolfsburg acquitted themselves here in terms of the not being a dick to people category, right? But this sort of stuff's been swirling around Kevin Behrens. He went from, wow, this guy's Jamie Vardy-ish and kind of cool to, he kind of sucks. And then, of course, he's also playing terribly while this is happening. Those combine into a perfect storm of him leaving Wolfsburg and going to Lugano in the first place. Then there's the kicker. Because you could be like, oh, it's just words, sticks and stones might break my bones, words may never hurt me. What about child rape? Not him. Kevin didn't do it. His brother-in-law, on the other hand, is a guy named Steven Van de Velde. Now, I am, you're not responsible for your family, right? But this is something that gets brought up around Kevin Behrens a lot, is this is a guy that clearly has some anger management issues. He has some mental filtering issues. His sister married a guy who is convicted of, sorry, a little trigger warning here. I guess I should have braced you for that. Convicted. This is not a rumor. This isn't a Mason Greenwood like, oh, a witness, we have no idea who has dropped out of the case, right? Like, it's not one of those situations. This dude went to court and was convicted of having sex with a 12-year-old 3 times. He then went to the Olympics in 2024, after which the Netherlands dropped an all-time fucking line here. They did not expect it to attract so much attention that this guy went to the Olympics. He's an Olympic Dutch volleyball player. He flew all the way to England because he befriended a 12-year-old on Facebook. It is as awful as it sounds. Feel free to read the entire thing if you want. Most people usually skim on the details. To be perfectly honest, I'm not going to lay them all on you here because this is YouTube and I like making money from videos. I don't want advertisers to be like, what is he talking about? I feel like reading the details is important in these cases because it's really easy to just force your brain to not think about this. His sister is married to this guy. And so what a lovely family. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say Kevin Behrens is obviously in like, but in the US, I'd say like you're hanging out at Thanksgiving together. I guess there's a lot of baggage, right? There's a lot of baggage going on with Kevin Behrens. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Lugano should probably get rid of this guy. Forget about everything else I said though, and just watch this video again, right? Like, I mean, what are we doing? Really? What are we doing? This is like the one kid in high school that has anger management issues that just mouths off at a coach or something or shoves a referee. That's what this looks like, except it's a professional footballer who has a cap for Germany. Dude's going to ensure I can tell you this, the guy's going to ensure that his career ends earlier than it should because he's acting like this. It's insane.